Hey everyone, it's Q&A Tuesday with Joe. I'm doing another one actually, so I guess I should say Q&A Thursday with Joe. It's number 16. This one is coming from Ginny, and I'm going to be talking about 5 tips to manage your second store, your second eBay store. So there are some people that they have approached me and have asked me they want to open a second store, and they've asked me, what would be some of the reasons you want to open a store? And if you have made that decision, you want to go ahead and open the store. These are some of the things that I want you to think about when you open the store and you grow your store. So, Jeannie asked, what can I do to better manage my second store? I don't want to get confused and miss out on any customer service. You're right. So, 5 tips. First one is keep your both stores open when you're obviously working on your laptop, your computer. Keep 2 browsers open at the same time. To give you an example, I keep one store open on Firefox and another store on Chrome. It doesn't really matter which one is which. I use Chrome for most of my stuff, so I guess the first store, which is my main store, would be running on Chrome, but it doesn't really matter. So, and then the second one, you can run on Firefox or you can run Safari, whatever browser you're using. So you can keep 2 browsers open. That's also, for example, if I want to order my items with my sources and for whatever reason I'm using the same source for 2 stores, which I don't recommend because it can get confusing, and I'll talk about it later on my other tips below. But if you do choose to use the same source for 2 stores, it can get confusing, and let's say you want to place an order and you want to use items from both stores, that's another reason why you want to keep 2 browsers open. And of course you want to check if you get a sale. You always have them there in front of you. You don't have to log out and log back into another browser. So keep 2 browsers open. Number 2, have a completely different niche. So if you started out with a big store, with your first store like I did, you probably diversified the crap out of it. So you listed everything and anything just to see what's gonna sell. You don't know. Obviously, you don't control the market. So if you have a little bit of everything, your second store should be more specialized. So you have 2 options. You can be very specialized and sell only a specific category, or you can be maybe a little broad within that category, but stay within the niche. So to give you an example, you can sell just stethoscopes for doctors, from different brands, different colors, sizes, shapes, attributes, whatever, right? So just one kind of stethoscope and maybe its accessories with it. Or you can sell hospital and healthcare industry items. So you're still kind of within that niche, but a little bit more broad, so it gives you more options in terms of items to list. So why do I give these 2 options? Well, not everyone is going to start out with a large limit. So maybe your second store is going to have a very small limit for the first couple of months. You might want to start really specialized. So you might want to start only listing stethoscopes, right? As your store progresses and grows and you get higher limits, then you can maybe start to broaden up. So you start to sell maybe whatever else comes with stethoscope, whatever cases for it and stuff like that. So you can expand to the point where you sell hospital and healthcare industry items, right? So that's the reason why I would give this progression of growth, because it just makes things a little bit easier to manage. Number 3, use different sources. So when you start out, maybe you might want to use the same source because you have very low limits. This is what I've done. So I may use the same store. In case I get a sale, I may want to use the item from the second store that I just sold to combine with my other items from the first store to save on shipping. But it can get very confusing and challenging as the store grows, right? So, you may not remember what you listed in the first one to the second one. And, if you list duplicates, eBay is actually going to penalize you. So, be very careful with that. So besides the niche, like I said, try to use different sources altogether, right? Especially if you specialize with this niche, right? So maybe you're selling home improvements on the first store. The second store, you want to sell healthcare. I don't know, just giving an example. So try to sell from different niche so you can use maybe a different source and you can try to avoid all these duplicates. Number 4. Number 4 refers to PayPal. So you can use the same PayPal account with the same I guess, ship a billing address and credit cards, so methods of payments, but you need a different email address. So of course, obviously when you open a second store, eBay is going to ask you to use an email address, so you cannot use your primary email address from your first store because it's already registered. So you need to create a different email address. Now with PayPal, you can use the same email address as the first store, but my advice to you is use the email that you used to register the second store. Register that on PayPal. The reason why that's beneficial is you can differentiate the orders from one store to another. So obviously for tax purposes, to give you an example, you may need to differentiate these sales so you can do your numbers right. You know, it keeps things organized. It keeps payments organized, so you kind of have idea in terms of growth. Maybe you want to run graphs and see your store progression, and that way you can differentiate it by the email address, by registering a second email address, and you can do that in PayPal. The last one, number 5, be organized. Okay, managing 2 stores can get very confusing, even at first when you only have very low limit with, let's say, 100 listings. Especially when the store grows, so the second one, I recommend to have a shared document file, especially if you have a VA helping you grow the second store. So keep 2 stores separate. If you have outstanding returns, replacements, whatever customer service information and issues you may have with these stores, keep 2 columns so you know from which store to another. So at first, like I said, the second store may not be as busy at first, not that many sales, or maybe not that many questions, customer service. As the store grows, well, you're going to encounter, more and more problems. And if you don't start being organized at the beginning, you're going to become very overwhelmed very easily once the store grows. So get that organization at first so you have that in place once the store grows. So that's it. Just keep 2 stores open in a browser, have completely different niche would definitely help. Use different sources. Use 2 different email accounts that will separate these 2 eBay stores, and of course be organized. These are just advices, so you don't necessarily have to do what I'm telling you. It's just what I found helped me manage these stores better. Thank you, and as always, happy